see what we can do here. Okay, I'm going to kick the music down a little bit just to make it easier to talk. Okay, here we go. Dark Souls, start a new game. I'm going to go over
Yes,
some of the
indeed.
basics. I'm going to skip the first cutscene, you can watch that on your own. I'm going to go over basics, noob stuff, how to get around, how to do stuff. So I'm going to name my character. Cool. You can work this particular thing. I mean, it's in every game they have a thing like this. So, actually have a favorite for my character. But yeah, you can control all your stuff. We're going to start class as a knight. You can look through here. If you look at the stats, each class has different stats, even starts at different levels, and has different equipment. Some of them are more difficult to play than others. Probably Depraved is the most difficult one to start with, just because all you have is a club and a shield that can't parry. And a lot of people who do speedruns and stuff will use this kind of character. But for now, we're just going to use Knight because it's the most straightforward. I think the easiest to start with. Burial Gift. You can start with something. You know, lots of different little things you can start with. I'm going to suggest the Young White Branch. I won't tell you why, just because I don't want to spoil stuff for the game, but Young White Branch is helpful for something else later. If you want to kind of figure that out on your own, then I don't know, just pick whatever you want because none of it really matters. Alright, cool, we got a character. Let's get it going. Cool, so here we go. We start off in the Cemetery of Ash. This is just a basic starting area. All the enemies here are very weak. So, again, I think you should know this, but you roll using, if you're using an Xbox remote, or an Xbox remote with B. If you want to lock on, click the right joystick. You can be unlocked. It gives you more freedom to move around. But if you want to lock on to somebody so that you're facing them at all times, you click the stick. I'm using the left stick to move around, that's pretty basic. And now we'll get into attacks. You have the right bumper, it's your quick attack. That's the thing that's going to be kind of, I won't say your bread and butter because it's kind of a bad idea to use it all the time, but it is your fast attack. So if you look at using our right mouse button, see, it gets very repetitive very quick, which makes it a very easy to parry attack. You have your right trigger, which is your heavy attack, and you can charge it. If you hold it, you'll charge it up, and then attack, and you can redirect it using the left joystick. So that's kind of useful in PvP stuff. Well, it's useful against enemies and stuff too. Your other triggers, so you have your left bumper, shields. I'll show you a bit more with shielding later. And at least with this character and this shield, it has left trigger will parry. Parrying's a bit more in depth, it takes a little bit more to get and use, but we'll work on that a little bit. Collect stuff, souls. If we click start and go to our inventory, you'll see what we just picked up. Soul of a Deserted Corpse. If you click the right mouse, sorry, not the mouse button, but the right joystick, it pops open the menu that will show you more information about the items that you're looking at. So you see in this one it says used to acquire more souls. You get souls from this basically. And you can click X to then, if you have an Xbox remote, you click X to read the description, which a lot of times gives you lore about the various items you'll pick up and deal with during the game. This first menu is kind of just everything, and then you filter down to materials, keys, and all that kind of stuff. So, to get an idea. If you want to, this is one of the first things I had to kind of learn, is that your inventory is not where you equip stuff. It shows you things that are equipped, you know. The things that have the gray icon are in your start menu. So you see them right here. That's your tool belt. Things that are with red are in your like quick select list here on the left, bottom left. And yeah, so that's that. If you want to change like what sword you have to switch over to your actual like equipment, right? You have your inventory, you have your equipment. And here you can select various weapons, items, things like that. This is very similar. I mean, it's pretty much the exact same as Dark Souls 2. And you can see up on the top right your weight ratio. There's 3 types of rolling. There's like fast rolling, which I've never used fast rolling, so I don't know how heavy you need to be, but you have to be pretty light to do that. And then there's mid rolling, which is anything under 70% of your weight ratio. And then there's fat rolling, which is anything over 70%. And it's pretty bad, so you shouldn't really do that unless you have a super poisey, super heavy armor build or something, but I would say that most people aren't going to do that. So let's look at this area real quick. Sorry if it's boring, but we'll get to the fun stuff here in a bit. You can equip stuff. You have your right hand, your left hand. You can equip weapons in either and shields in either. It doesn't really matter. It's up to you however you want to fight, whether you want to predominantly use your left hand versus your right. Then here you've got arrows. You can equip 2 types of arrows at a time. You fire the different arrows using the trigger or the bumper, and bolts. So if you have a crossbow. Cool. Rings. We don't have any rings, so we can't equip anything yet. And then all the items you can carry. It's normally a pretty smart idea to keep this thing lightweight. Most people keep their Estus on it because that's the quickest way to access it. We'll put some more stuff on here in a bit, and we'll get an idea of some little tricks to use with that. Not really tricks, but just things you can do. Okay, Ashen Estus. This might not matter as much for you yet, but Ashen Estus impacts, if you look up on the top left, you'll see that little blue bar. That blue bar is used for spells, but it's also used for a thing in this game called Weapon Art, which is certain weapons, when equipped a certain way, will allow you to use a weapon art. So in this case, with this particular sword, which is just a starting long sword, if you click the left button, you will go into a stance. This is like right before you use. This is actually a blocking stance. And then from here, you can then use. Oh wait, not there. You can use a weapon art. Oh wait. Sorry. It's not the left bumper. It's the left trigger. Left trigger will put you into this stance. Sorry, this stance is blocking. You're blocking with your sword versus your shield. If you hold the left trigger, you go into this stance, and you have 2 separate weapon arts. You can use the right bumper, which is just a basic shield break. It's great for when people are, up behind their shield and they're not coming out. The other one is kind of a long-running poke, stab up like that. And you'll notice I'm using that mana, the Ashen Estus, when I do that. And then replenish it, use that. Okay, well, we'll do some more stuff here in a bit. You switch whether you're in a stance like this, like single-handing your weapon versus two-handing, by clicking the Y button. The Y button, you can do this pretty seamlessly in a fight. You can also, if you use your D-pad, you can switch what you're using in your various hands. Cool. Let's do some turtling up to mess with these guys. So, we're going to shield up. So shielding up basically allowed me to, like, when he attacked, he hit my shield and it kind of knocked him back a bit. Some enemies have too much poise for that to work on them, so you just got to watch it with various enemies. We're just going to look at a note here real quick, just because I want you to see what's up here. It says read message. Look at the message, and ones that don't have like a user, like they don't have votes or anything, these are ones that are laid down by the game itself. Now they're saying turn back here because there's a crystal lizard that way that people who are new to the game will probably have trouble dealing with. Okay, so dudes who carry bows or crossbows or spells even are relatively easy to deal with by strafing left or right. Just minor thing. People will run right into them, but you can strafe to the side, and they're pretty easy to dodge. Basic stuff. Cool. Alright. So we run forward, great. Check out all the vistas. Look around. This game is, there's a lot of exploration to it. Like kind of careful, methodical exploration. So go for it. It's kind of what makes it fun. Sometimes it can be frustrating because you get killed going to stuff that you really want, but it's part of the game. You eventually get over that. But okay, cool. Light bonfires. Bonfires are when you rest at a bonfire, like so. It refills your Estus. And a lot of times you have an inventory box you can put stuff in. You can also travel, that kind of thing. Cool. Let's clear these enemies out. Notice I didn't need to lock onto those guys. Characters you kill, they can potentially drop stuff, pick it up. Sometimes it's good stuff, sometimes it's whatever. So here we see there's two dudes standing here, one with a shield and a spear. I'm going to drop, and as I dropped, I clicked the right bumper, and that allowed me to basically do a plunging attack, which does more damage than like a regular attack. So I'm shielding up against this guy. He's going to hit me, but he's shielding up too. So if you click forward with the joystick, the left joystick, and right mouse bumper, you'll do essentially a kick, and that sets them up for a riposte. You riposte by stepping in to them when they're kicked back, and then right mouse button. You have to be standing still though. If you're moving and you click it, then you won't do it. So you have to walk up to them, stop, then right mouse button, and you'll riposte them. So that's a shield kick. If they have a big enough shield or enough poise, then the kick won't just work on them, and you'll be better to use a shield break. But it works on these enemies, so it's a pretty good thing. Cool. Took some hits doing that, but that's fine. Yay. Now to jump. To jump in this game, other than roll, like oh yeah, side note, if you're just standing still and you click B, you'll do a jump back, which can be super duper useful. I don't use it nearly that much. I normally roll back, but it's a very useful thing to do because you can jump back and then do various types of attacks. Now, if you want to jump besides rolling, you want to hold B to run. That's how you sprint, like this, versus just walking. And then you click the left joystick, and you will jump. Now, you don't jump a lot because this game's not really about how far you can jump. There's, I would say, minimal platforming, and it's usually pretty not fun, but there's platforming for stuff like that right there, where it's just run and use the left bumper. Another dude I know. Oh, actually, he moved. All right. Cool. Dead. All right. So we basically cleared everybody out. If you want to equip extra stuff on your belt, you can come down here and do that through the menu. I'm going to equip the fire bombs. I don't need them right now, but yeah. So here we go. Now say we're on the fire bombs and we want to get to our Estus quick. If you just hold the down button on the D-pad, it will go to your Estus. So it doesn't matter what you're at. If you hold down, it'll go to your Estus. So if you want a quick way to get to your Estus, that's how you do it. I'm really bad. I always end up clicking and switching my shield away and stuff, which is a pain in the ass. But anyway, all right, cool. All right, so here is the first boss. Pretty cool looking. He's got a big old cool looking sword plunge through him. He has this weird thing sticking out of his back. It's called the Pus of Man, and there's a handful of characters you deal with that's just a huge pain in the ass, but let's deal with it. Alright, so pull the sword out, because that's the only option we have to move forward. He gets up, because he's the judge. Alright. Eudix Gundyr. Now, this is all about timing. Timing your rolls to make sure you dodge his attack. Rolling under him, and taking shots when it's safe. Oh, ooh. I did not know I did not roll there. Oh, you can also do like I just did right there, which is to roll early. Getting away so that you can Estus. One strategy is to kind of walk around behind him, basically, to strafe him. Alright, Pus of Man comes out of him. I actually don't know if this works, but nah, it doesn't work. Okay. So, this part of the fight, I think, the best thing is to stay in close. That big hand is really a pain in the ass. Okay, so he's like technically riposted right there. You could. Oh. All right, cool. He's not too bad. I was thinking for the Pus of Man, just for later in the game, if you hit him with a firebomb, they normally freak out, which gives you a chance to get some attacks in on them. Anyway, cool. So. Not too crazy. He takes a little bit of getting used to rolling him. His attacks, you may die a whole bunch. Part of me wants to like go back and just die, just so you see. You die a lot. It's not a big deal. I've died to him a ton. Especially when you want to do stuff like try to parry him, because he's got a bunch of very parryable attacks. Cool. We get a bonfire. After every boss in Dark Souls 3, you get a bonfire. So great. We can rest it and get our Estus back. Cool. Also, if you look at our inventory... Oh, we didn't actually get... I thought you get a soul from him, but we don't get a soul from him. Instead, we just get the coiled sword. And we can read, you know, about the coiled sword or whatnot. Cool. Yay, now we're going to head up to the Firelink Shrine. So this first area is really just to kind of teach you like stuff, how to roll, how to sneak up on enemies, how to deal with shielded enemies, like this guy here. See? When you riposte, when you guard break somebody or parry them, there's normally a very like noticeable accompanying sound, and yeah, so that was what that sound was right there. It's very consistent, so you'll know when you've actually successfully parried or shield broke or whatnot. Okay, so this guy, we can learn how to backstab. Get right up close to him, and then you're lined up in a specific spot kind of behind their back. You can use your light attack to do a backstab, and it just does a lot more damage than, you know, standard attack. You can explore this area if you want. There's I can't remember if there's like cool stuff to pick up here, but there is a dude over here. You can see him. Here, I'm going to fight these guys first. Standing right there, you can see him. He's kind of a thin-looking dude. It's called Swordmaster. He's not the easiest to beat if you don't know what you're doing, so I would just avoid him unless you want to go cut your teeth on him or something. Cool. Ooh, there's also a dog around here. We could look at dogs. Dogs are a pain in the ass to most people because they have a really weird moveset. Like, they jump around, they get on the other side of you, you know. So their moveset's not standard. So they kill a lot of people, especially when they're in groups. But if you have a shield, they will do that. They'll hit the shield and it'll stun them for just a second, and you can take a whack at them. Cool. So you'll deal with dogs later. Big groups of them. Yay, Firelink Shrine. So this was something that kind of got me when I first started, because I'm used to Dark Souls 2, where you run from Majula. Majula's kind of like your Firelink Shrine, and you run from there to the next area. But here you don't. You sit at the bonfire and you travel there, which is the High Wall of Lothric. That's the next area. But for now, let's take a look around. Crestfallen Warrior. I forget what this guy's name is.
Well, you noticed.
Anyway. He's a sad state. He's essentially not a version of you, but somebody like you who is tasked with the same thing, and who has, you don't know how long he's been at it. Maybe he's been at it for 1,000 years, but he is now crestfallen because he can't do it. And he's always kind of sad and depressed. They have one in Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 1. All right.
Welcome to the bonfire.
Here's your Firekeeper. She's the one who levels you up.
Then take me.
This is I would say you can look at your weapon and upgrade based on that, whether it scales with strength or dexterity or whatever. Vigor is going to be your health. Endurance is how much stamina basically you have. Vitality is how much you can carry, and how much you can carry directly affects how much poise you have. Strength affects strength weapons, and things like, I believe, fire bombs scale with strength, and black fire bombs scale with dexterity. One of those or the other. We could look at them to tell, but yeah, intelligence plays into specific types of spell casting and stuff. Fate's the same way. There's certain weapons that require these as well. I would say that in some games these are the most important thing ever, but they're not nearly as important as you might think. Like, a stat being off by 1 isn't really going to play a huge role in whether you make it through the game, So don't be too worried about this. Plus, if you become a Finger of Rosaria later on in the game, you can re-roll, reset your character and set them up however you want. All right, cool. So up there at the top, you can see we have the number of required souls and how many we have. Great. Cool. Just leveled up. Shrine Handmaiden. She will sell you stuff. You can buy a whole lot of things from her, and you can pick up throughout the game ashes to give to her that she will then add to her, meager selection here. If you want to be summoned by other people, you can buy a white soapstone. Homeward Bones will let you go back to the bonfire, or to the last bonfire you rested at. Poison purple moss clumps you don't have to really worry about just yet. There's some swamp areas later where these will come in super handy, and you'll be able to get ashes that let you buy as many of these as you want. And you can buy fire bombs for pretty cheap. If you wait a little bit into the game, you'll get a character who sells these for half price, and that's pretty good. If you want to have a torch to see things with, torches are cool. They are super useful for fighting certain types of enemies later, and for getting rid of worms, but it's way later in the game, so don't worry about that. Cool. The dude
Well, I am not as you let me
Andre, blacksmith, he will reinforce your weapons. He can fuse your weapons, which is with like fire or whatnot, and you can change scaling properties and stuff based on that. If you break equipment, you can repair it, although I've never broken equipment in Dark Souls 3. I've broken it in Dark Souls 2 a ton, Dark Souls 3 not so much. You can allot your Estus. In this case, I don't need any Ashen Estus, so I'm just going to put it all into the regular Estus for health. And if you pick up Estus shards, you'll reinforce them.
Pretty be careful.
That's all the characters that are here thus far, I think. I'm pretty sure that's the case. Oh wait, no, there's one more guy. So, the whole story, you're trying to get the Lords of Cinder to come back and sit their thrones so you can link the fire. This is one of the Lords of Cinder who did come back, and he's already here waiting. Later on, he will make boss weapons for you, which is pretty cool. Pretty boss. Kick-ass thrones. If you watch the opening cinematic, you'll see basically who sits on these thrones. Oh, yeah. If you click select, you get your gesture list. Right? Move forward. That's Yorms. Fist Watchers. The princes. Whatever his name is, Cordlin, or whatever his name is. So he's of Cordlin, I can't remember what his name is. And then, Aldridge. Alright, cool. Let's go to the high wall real quick. Just a little run there. Oh, so here we go. Storage box. You can put stuff in your storage. Hey, I'm going to put my homeward bone there, or whatever. And you put it over there. Bring it back, whatever. It becomes more important, like, when you're doing PvP or something and you want to keep your inventory pretty lightweight so you can switch between it mid-fight. If you will pick up throughout the game undead bone shards. You burn those to make your Estus more powerful. Super useful. And if you're a spellcaster, you can attune spells. I'm not a spellcaster, so it doesn't matter. Yay, let's go to the high wall. Alright, alright, alright. Yay, big room, wander around, look at all the stuff, whatever. Yay, we're in Lothric. Okay, so you see right off the bat, you see these signs popping up. These are people who are willing to come into your game to help you out. And you can, if you wanted to, if you bought a white soapstone, you could write your name down for somebody to summon you. Now, what's cool about being summoned is that it's low risk, because if you die, you don't lose your souls. You're co-oping with other people, which is fun. You can learn a lot, so it's pretty cool. I originally used to, like in Dark Souls 2, got summoned a lot. I used to get summoned just non-stop because it was, for me, more fun. It was, like I said, more low risk. And you can control various settings on your like whether you get matched with people or not via this, right? You can restrict, your summon sign, that kind of thing. You can set a password, whatever. All right, cool. That looks like a crazy person. Okay. So here we go. The actual rest of the game is going this way. But, you can go back this way. There's a shortcut. There's a dude right here. There's several dogs. Like, if we take a look, part of it is going to be like, hey, looking ahead to see what you might run into. There's two dogs. One dog actually the dogs just noticed us. Or one of the dogs did. You see there's a dude like on a patrol down there. There's another dude laying there. When they have like a lamp next to them, it means they can wake up and come try to fight you. Plunging attack. Okay. Alright, so this dude is walking up. He's got a big ass axe, and he can definitely do a wallop of damage to you if he hits you. But with a shield, he's not so bad. You can shield and you can walk around him. That was a great plunge attack, as you saw. Some of this is backing up and staying out of his reach. Getting around behind him, backstabbing him. This is that dude, see, he's getting up. I'm gonna try to parry him, just because it'll be fun. That's his heavy attacks, I don't think I can parry it. Boom. Anyway, parrying takes a lot. I'm not super good at it. I can only do it in some instances, not others, but whatever. It's still fun. Oh. Oh, that was dumb. Backstab him. A lot of enemies aren't very good at, like, as they're getting up, you can normally get a power attack off on them while they're getting up. Okay, so we don't need this in our inventory, so whatever. Okay, so up here, there's a dude who is infected with the Pus of Man. Now, you're going to get to see what it is because I'm going to let it happen. But in a second, I'll show you a character that I won't let it happen with. Here we go. Big nasty thing. Hit it with a firebomb. So you freak out. Oh. God, I rolled into that too. I'm gonna die. You can get Titanite shards off of it though, and an ember, so it's not like the worst to run into. Anyway, definitely kicked my ass though. So here in a second I'll show you that a better way to deal with them is probably not to let that Pus of Man come out, but to just kill it beforehand. Alright, so anyway, let's get up here. I'm just running. Oh, side note. Not side note, this is super duper important. Look up at the green is our stamina. So let's run our stamina out. Alright, you can run a lot further in this game than you could in Dark Souls 2, so it's not something I think about as much, but okay. Now, if I get to this point, let's say, and I shield up, notice how slow my stamina recharges. It recharges quickest when your shield's down, so your shield should not be something you turtle behind. For one, you can be shield broken. For two, your stamina recovers slower, so you can get shield broken, and you can basically run out of stamina. So, yeah. The other thing is, when you're running around, it's best to not run out of stamina. It's best to stop at some point, like here, and let it recharge. Because if you run yourself completely out of stamina, you'll have a cooldown period where you won't be able to sprint, right? Like I can't sprint right now because it has to get all the way back up. So it's a pain in the ass. Way better to just run it until you get it low and then let it refill. Okay, cool. I'm gonna bring this guy in oh, he's gone. It'd be cool to summon somebody though, just to goof off. I'm gonna rest because I need to get my Estus back. Oh, wait. Okay, so I can't rest at a bonfire right now, which is making me think I've been invaded. Can I put a summon sign down? Oh, I can. Okay, so I'm not invaded. What's up with that? That's weird. It's not letting me rest at the bonfire, which is super strange. So let me put a sign down. The sign's off, like it's not there. Something's up. Oh, there we go. Okay. You can go back to the Firelight Shrine from here, or you can go back to the other areas you've been. Okay. Cool. It'd be cool to summon somebody, but I guess it's nighttime, so nobody's playing. Alright, cool. This area. Dude. This guy up here will scream, and he basically summons more people. So it's best to kill him before he gets a chance to really get his yelling going. Oop. Okay. A lot of the people laying around you don't really have to worry about. It's the people with the yeah, see, these people with the light on them, if he had kind of a chance to yell, they would all get up. Alright, cool. So, item. Important item. Binoculars. They... switch this out with my binoculars. They allow you to take a look at stuff and zoom in on it so you can get a chance to scope out an area and see maybe where you're headed or see if there's enemies ahead or whatever. They're pretty nice. Again, this game's all about exploration, so explore around, you'll find little shortcuts and you'll see items that you need to get to, and you gotta find a way to get to them. I've played through this area, so I know where the stuff is. And there's a dude over here too. Again, to kick, it is you click forward on the joystick and the right bumper. Okay, cool. Climb down ladders. If you hold B, click down, you'll slide down. You'll also find ways of, this is like when you play the game a fair bit, you'll a lot of times find a quicker way to get down in places like this. Just drop down. Cool. Okay. See, I'm not lining up quite where I need to with his back. So, freaking shield. You'll notice that arrow went through me. You get some invincibility frames when you're doing something like that. Alright, I don't want to go fight all those guys. Instead, let's run up here and check this out. Boom, dragon. Run through everybody and defend this area. While they're getting their asses burned to death. Ah, shit. This area you can also time your runs with when the dragon's fire stops. Cool. Okay, next thing. So So down here you'll find your first chest, but don't open this chest. Let's bust out our binoculars and look at this. Okay, just watch the lid. Looks like a normal chest, and it's difficult to notice it, but the chest does breathe. Okay, so this is what's called a mimic. It's a creature pretending to be a chest. The easiest way to tell is by the chain. If the chain's pointing forward, it's a mimic. If it's pointing backwards, it's getting loot. I guess let's actually attack it and fight it. It'll probably kill me because mimics are a pain in the butt, but it's still cool. See, they have a whole bunch of health and they have really weird movements. Oh shit. They have ninja kicks. And they have that move. Which is like they'll eat you basically. Oh god. Oh god. Get out of there. Ninja kicks. And I don't think you can backstab them either. I don't. Oh, shit. And when they get a hold of you to eat you, it's like an instant kill. Like the kid basically does all your health. Anyway, I don't know what this guy had. Oh, he had a battle axe. Cool. Okay, cool. Okay, we're gonna run into a knight here. Now these guys are actually considered fairly difficult for new people. So what you can do on this guy is you can wait way back here, and he'll probably go along on his path. I'm gonna piss him off though because I like fighting him. See, he's knocking my... Ooh. Yeah, he's knocking my stamina down with his big shield bash. But they're fairly easy to parry. They're pretty predictable moveset, like actually super predictable moveset, so they're fun to practice parrying on. And they drop some alright loot. Okay, cool. Again, exploration. If we look, this is the area we just came from. See, there's that archer over there. There's the dragon. Keep pressing forward. These guys are annoying because they're fast moving, they come out of the dark, and they can get shots on you and kind of throw you off your game. Okay. Now, once you come into this room, head up, and we'll get to our first bonfire after the high wall bonfire. And from here you can go level up, or, you know, get your Estus or whatever. See, there's that knight we just fought. He responds, but he just walks out of the room, so you can leave him. The door out of here is straight down. Here it is right here. And you see there's some people patrolling and stuff. But you can hop down, just right out the door. There's an item over here, but there's also a dude who comes up when you come over there. Where is he? Oh, he comes up here. There you go. Shoot. Okay. So this is a case of shit. They're staggering attacks, so that can be kind of annoying, but anyway, you got it. Okay, so this was the last thing I wanted to show you. So you don't know this until you play through the game, but if we look through our binoculars, so the dude, I don't know, he's right there, he's facing to the right, and he's got no shirt and his arms are up. That dude has Pus of Man, and if you run up there, Pus of Man explodes out of him, and he starts fucking everything up. So we don't want to deal with that, because the Pus of Man dude is annoying as shit to fight. So instead, we're going to run up there and kill his ass super quick. Kill him fast, Pus of Man doesn't come out. Yay. And then you're free to pick up stuff. Fire bombs. There's also over here a crystal lizard. So crystal lizards are basically these creatures that drop cool stuff. Like right there, you dropped a raw gem. Pick up souls, deserted corpses, whatever. Yeah, and some of these people, like this type of guy down here, is a guy that like you can learn to sneak around and avoid, or you can learn to fight him. There is an Estus shard, I think underneath us in this building under here. If you go the other way, you can sneak around him, and yeah, I mean this is basically like, oh yeah, again, you can take quicker ways down. And there's lots of different styles of characters to fight. Oh, forgot about that guy. Alright. So, this guy. Oh, shit. So that's just, you can look up a YouTube video on it, but when it comes to parrying, sometimes, or most of the time, it's pretty difficult to parry the first attack, just because they can happen so quick. But the second attack is normally a really good one to parry, because it's way more predictable of what they're going to do. You know, if you know they're going to do a 2-attack combo, you know, you can do your thing. So a big thing is getting over the weirdness of the controls, just because they are different, and learning how to lock on, shield, you know, properly attack, back away. Learn that you're not always like, you know, if you're playing a Bethesda game, like you're playing Skyrim, you're just like charging in and kicking everything's ass. You don't really give a thought about like the order in which you attack or anything like that, because you're just busy, you know, kicking everything's ass because the game is, you know, pretty much easy. So, here's a chest. You see the chains pointing backwards? It's cool to open. This area is kind of, I think, partially to teach you to use fire bombs. There's a bunch of dudes wandering around, like this guy here. He's not the easiest to fight, but you can blow him up. Except I didn't blow him up at all. Great. The bombs in here are pretty shit. Got the dog, though. Oh, shit. Oh, God. I'm dead. Okay, so that was stupid of me. I think I took fall damage, and yeah, that was not good. Anyway, let's quickly go retrieve our souls. How about that? Alright, it's kind of a long video, sorry about that, but okay, another thing you'll notice, I no longer have that fire shimmer to me. It's because I'm unembered. If we go back here, you use an ember, and you can re-ember. You get 30% more health, and but just know that when you are embered, you are opening yourself up to being invaded, but it's also, it allows you to summon people. Like I'm going to summon this person, just for fun. Why not? They seem kind of cool. Ooh, there's a glowy item over here. What's that? Oh, Titanite shard. Cool. Cool. You can't talk to people, but you can certainly emote, waving and shit. Co-op can be a ton of fun, by the way, even when you're playing with people you don't know. Oh crap! I fucked that up. Oh god, get out of here. Here's the other thing. Don't be afraid to just run away from fights that you can't win. Or you can win, but maybe they'll be too large of a risk to be worth it. See what he does. Oh, he's focused on the other person. Still backstab him. Notice also, though, that he has more health. When you bring people into your game, they get, the enemies get their health scale accordingly. Alright, cool. Crap, that was a bad roll. Alright. Crap on Estus. God, what a bunch of crap. There you go. Ah, fuck it. There. Oh god. Oh. I think Pumperum died. How did Pumperum die? I don't know how he died, but... Or her. Oh yeah, walls aren't always the most dependable thing. Alright, whatever. Don't know what to do with that, but... Chain pointing backwards, good chest. There's lots of ways of getting around it in the game too, so it's kind of a, you decide how you want to get from A to B. Oh shit. Alright, cool. Jail cell key that comes in use later. And most important thing in this room is this Estus shard. Pretty boss. Alright, cool. So now we'll actually we'll swap this out with a Homeward Bone. We'll Homeward Bone from here. Back to the Sean Bonfire. Homeward Bone allows you to get out of an area, so you don't have to like run all the way back. It just saves you some time, and or gets you out of a a place where you're worried about dying and losing your souls or something.
Welcome, host. Very well. Then touch
Oh
the
yeah, before
dark.
we level up, let's go upgrade our weapon real quick, just because I think we got enough Titanite shards to do it.
What?
Reinforce. Yep. Here we go. Longsword. Reinforce it. Cool. Right there you can see it requires 4 Titanite shards, we only have 3. The other thing to look at is if you know, I just clicked select, and you can look at the explanation of all the stuff. You see here, it says C scaling, which is, it goes A scaling, B scaling, I think it's S scaling, A scaling, B scaling, C scaling, then D, and then E. E is the worst, S is the best. And then, you know, this changes, you know, how much damage your weapon is able to do. And then certain infusions, like a heavy gem, will allow it to scale better with strength, while I believe it's a sharp gem scales it with dexterity. And the various gems do different things. Yep, and you can see your requirements, blah, 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 all that good stuff. There's an explanation for everything. So we updated our weapon. Oh, we can update our Estus too.
What?
Shard. Cool.
Project.
Now, when we rest at a bonfire, we'll get an extra Estus.
Ah.
You can also, you know, if we needed more embers, you can purchase some from her. You can also purchase dried fingers, which lets us summon more people. You can get more fire bombs. Blah, blah, blah. All this basic stuff.
Ashen.
Level up.
Well, very well. Then hit.
I like having a lot of vigor, because it gives you a lot of health. Endurance is good too. Probably should put some in endurance. Cool.
Farewell, Ashen One.
Yay! And you can, if you want, you can always switch your weapon out to try other stuff. I mean, picked up this deep battle axe. Axes are pretty cool, because they do a lot of poise damage. Like they'll knock people on their ass. You knock them back, even when they're behind a shield. They'll shield break easier with an axe. Axes also have things like this. So this weapon art, if we look at it real quick, we'll make this the last thing. But if we look at this weapon art, Warcry let out a spirited Warcry that temporarily boosts attack. Like basically, when you do this in a fight, boom, you'll have your poise will be higher, and your attacks will do more. You'll take less damage, and it's something that's useful. It can also, I think, if you're standing directly next to a person and you do that, it'll knock them back. And when you run out of your mana, your Ashen Estus to use it, you'll still like have some parts of it. It'll use more stamina, and it won't be as effective. Yeah, anyway. So try other weapons. You know, you may learn that you really like using a battle axe way more than you like using a sword. Or maybe you find out you like two-handing an axe versus using a shield. Or maybe you like, you know, you like using a sword and an axe. Because you get all kinds of different little combos that you can pull off. Some combos are way better than others. You know, you learn that over time. But, you know, what feels comfortable to you. But, I mean, people have beat the entire game using everything. People have beat the whole game using, you know, nothing but, you know, a straight sword, or nothing but a rapier, or nothing but a staff, or nothing but their fists. Like, you can go watch people on YouTube who just beat, like, bosses with their fists, or who don't roll, and they run around and they learn how to position themselves. You know, you can play the game in just about any way you want. You know? Anyway. So I hope this gives you like a little bit of a primer into the game, covering things like stamina, and mana, and, you know, Estus, health, leveling up, finding stuff, getting around, running from fights, that kind of thing. And also dying, because I did die. I had to go recover my souls. Not a big deal. And also, don't be, I would say, to not get so stressed about losing souls. Like at the beginning of the game, you're worried because it's like, I lost, you know, I had 10,000 souls and I lost them. But as you play the game, you get better and better, and it matters less and less how many souls you lose. And eventually you get where you can have 1,000,000 souls and lose it, and it isn't even a big deal, because you can just go get more souls. It's not a big deal at all. Plus, your levels, while they do matter, they don't play anywhere near as huge an impact as your weapon upgrades do. And your weapons are upgraded with things that you don't lose when you die. Like Titanite shards. You know, you pick them up once you pick them up. If you lose them, not a big deal. upgraded weapons, like maximum upgraded weapons, are way more useful than you know, having your build a certain level or something. I mean, people again beat the whole game using, you know, characters they don't level up. Like they'll take a depraved all the way through the game. You have to learn how to roll better and stuff. But yeah, cool. Armor, all that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, these things, so cool. Use it to get souls. You know, if I needed more souls for a level, you can bust those things open. If you want, side note, you'll notice it closed the menu when I did that. If you don't want it to close the menu, they really want you to see this animation or something, because if you close the panel here, you can use it and it won't close your inventory. So, another little minor thing. I'm picking up a whole bunch of stuff. This isn't like a Bethesda game. These things actually do matter, and it's better to use them when you can. Undead Hunter Charms. If you had come up on a mimic, you can use this to put the mimic to sleep and get the item out of it. White Young Branch will let you disguise yourself, and it's useful for a thing later in the game. Gold Pine Resin, we look at that thing, it applies lightning to your weapon. Boosts your stamina recovery. These things come in handy when you're in boss fights, and like, you know, some bosses will take more damage from lightning, so you lightning up your weapon. If you're hiding for some reason, you can use the Young White Branch for that. If you're in a duel with somebody, or you're fighting somebody, you can use this to prevent them from being able to use their Estus, but it also puts mimics to sleep. So yeah, there's lots of stuff in this game, and it's all useful. There's not really anything that's like, oh, this is completely useless. I mean, maybe these, the Prism Stones, but these are PvPers use them mainly. But everything else has a use. You know, like if you have poison, this cures it. Repair powder is useful. I've seen people actually get close to breaking the weapons. I've never have, but some people have. So repair powder, you know. So yeah.
Ashen 1.
There you go. Hopefully you get into it and we can play some. Alright, man.